What's up, guys? It's me, Tixie Bands, and I'm back with another One Piece chapter review. This week we're doing chapter 1095, titled A World Not Worth Living In. And Oda's been on a streak the past few chapters of naming the chapter after just a character, but he's ending the streak here with this chapter. And A World Not Worth Living In, I think, is referring to Kuma's backstory. Kuma's backstory is beginning on this chapter, and I'm thinking it's gonna go on to the next chapters too. It takes place in the Sorbet Kingdom and also the one and only God Valley. And other than the Kuma focus, we also focus the first half of the chapter on the dismal situation that the Straw Hats are in because of Saint Saturn's arrival on Egghead Island. So without further ado, let's start going through the chapter. The cover page this week is another fan request, but I'm really hoping that soon we'll get a cover story because it's been quite a long time since we've got one. This fan request is just a small squirrel monkey running off with Emperor Buggy's nose, and just a reminder that Buggy is an emperor now, which is something I kind of forgot about. And now we begin the actual chapter with the Marines' reactions to Saint Saturn's arrival. All the lower rank Marines are like running around frantically, running away from Saint Saturn, who is technically on their side, but he's not really friendly to them. They're being told to evacuate the area because these low-level Marines are just going to get in Saint Saturn's way. And none of these Marines have actually seen a Gorosei member in person before until now. One guy even says that he's only seen portraits of Saturn, which gives a little insight into who actually knows about the Gorosei and what they even look like. And now we cut to Saturn, who is currently being stabbed by Bonnie in the chest. And some of the Marine vice admirals get ready to help Saturn because Bonnie has crossed the line here, attacking Saint Saturn. And Vegapunk, he screams in terror because Bonnie probably dug her own grave by attacking Saint Saturn. But Saturn, he just uses some strange power, and his power shows through his eyes, and all it does is knock Bonnie back, and it kind of knocks her out too. Saturn remarks that he doesn't care about being stabbed by just a simple sword, and that's why he didn't dodge in the first place. Sanji goes running after Bonnie to go help her, but Saturn uses some strange power to just force Sanji back and also nearly knock him out. And he uses this power without even lifting a finger. And he takes the sword out now, and the wound on his chest just completely disappears. It doesn't seem like it heals, it just vanishes. And the vice admirals come over to help Saint Saturn, even though Saint Saturn clearly doesn't need any help. Saturn looks over at Kizaru on the floor, and he's disappointed that Kizaru couldn't execute his order. Kizaru has no stamina left anymore because of Luffy's fight with him. And we also see Luffy on the floor next to him with his post-Gear 5 form where he's all old and drained looking. And Saturn goes to attack Luffy's body with one of his spider legs to take him out right when he's defenseless. But luckily, Franky comes to the rescue. Franky pushes Luffy away with his strong right and pretty much saves him from death. And Saturn is actually kind of impressed that the Straw Hats stick together in a situation as bad as this, because they could easily die and it would be better to just not get involved. And he says that escape for anyone is hopeless, and I'm kind of agreeing with him because Saturn just seems like too big of a force for anyone to even contend with. And he talks to Vegapunk now because he's ready to execute him. And he first thanks Vegapunk for all his contributions to the Marines and the government. And it doesn't matter how much he contributed, the Gorosei will never stand for a betrayal. So he wants Vegapunk's punishment to be as painful as possible since he did betray them. And he asked Vegapunk who to kill first. And before Vegapunk even gets the chance to answer, he grabs Bonnie, complaining, like, why do humans never listen and why do they have to always betray the orders that they're given? Now Bonnie curses Saint Saturn for killing her father, Bartholomew Kuma, because he's the one who gave the order for him to be turned into a robot. And Saturn remarks that Kuma was born a slave and a member of the people who committed a sin against the government. And here it's revealed that Kuma is a member of a newly introduced Buccaneer race. And they are named after the real life Buccaneers, who are like historical pirates who are from the Caribbean and from like South America. The Buccaneer race actually has some giant blood in them, which is why Kuma is so big. And Bonnie now has a flashback that is interlaced with the events that are occurring right now. And she remembers her father, Kuma, telling her that he wants to be a hero that can bring freedom to all the people of the world, like the warrior of liberation, Nika. Kuma even told her about Nika's signature laugh and the drum beat that goes along with it. And meanwhile, the Marines are all about to shoot her while she's being held up in the air by Saint Saturn. And Vegapunk and Sanji scream for everyone to stop what they're doing because they're going to kill Bonnie. But that's where this section of the chapter ends in the present, and we begin the big flashback. The flashback begins 47 whole years ago at Kuma's birth in the Sorbet Kingdom. And we see Kuma's parents, his father, who's named Clap, is the one who passed down the Buccaneer genes to Kuma. His mom is just a regular human. And they have to keep their lineage secret or else they could be killed by the government. So the doctor promises not to let their secret out. But then it cuts to however long later, and the secret got out somehow, and the government agents storm the Sorbet Kingdom, and they take the family as slaves. And Clap, he begs for his wife and son to be let go, but the celestial dragons don't listen to him, so they're all sent to Mary Joa to be slaves for the celestial dragons now. And we see multiple instances of a child Kuma. First, he's lifting boxes, and then he's getting whipped, and then he's also crying because of how bad of a situation they're in right now. And Clap, sometime in the future, finally gets a chance to talk to his son after probably being split up for a long while now. But unfortunately, when they come back together to talk to each other, Clap has to bear the bad news of Kuma's mother's death. And Clap tries to think about it in a positive way because she is in a better place now. It's better than being a slave. But Kuma cries uncontrollably. Clap tells Kuma about the Warrior of Liberation, the same story that Kuma later passes to his daughter, Bonnie. And he talks to his son about how the sun god Nika will one day save everyone with his signature laugh. He dances while singing the drum beat, and this actually works to cheer up Kuma until Clap is shot by a celestial dragon. Clap is like shot right in front of Kuma's face, which has to be such a traumatizing experience for Kuma. And the chapter also creates more reason to hate the celestial dragons than ever. Now we shift to 38 years ago, when Kuma would have been 9 years old, where we are in the legendary God Valley. The God Valley incident with Roger and Garp and Rox happened 38 years ago, so we should be expecting to learn about that since we're in God Valley now. And God Valley was unaffiliated with the world government before 38 years ago, so the Celestial Dragons come in this chapter to take it. And they hold a game/event every 3 years where they cleanse an entire island of its natives. And this year, they just happened to choose God Valley. And they chose God Valley as the location because of its blasphemous name. It's literally calling itself like the Valley of the Gods when the Celestial Dragons believe that they're the only true gods of the world. And on the island, its king is baffled that the Celestial Dragons have this idea of a game where they're just going to kill all the natives. But he is quickly silenced and executed by none other than Garling Figarland, Shanks's relative. We don't know if it's Shanks's father or what, but he's definitely his relative. We got to look at young Garling now, who still has the crescent moon hair, but he doesn't have the beard to match it yet. And he was supposed to wait until the game actually begun to kill the king, so he gets 10,000 points subtracted from his score. So I guess they compete to see who could get the most points and get the highest score by killing the people. And the Celestial Dragons will even be adding their slaves to the island population in order to just kill more people, I guess. And watching this happen is Saint Saturn, who looks pretty much the same age as the present, which gives more evidence to the immortal Gorosei theory. And Saturn receives news that a buccaneer child tried to escape, and that child is obviously Kuma. And Kuma, he's with a group of 10 slaves, and the other slaves would have been severely punished if just one of them were to run away through their collective punishment system. So what they do is they drag Kuma back to avoid their punishment. And that's when we see two figures in the distance. These people are Emporio Ivankov at just 15 years old, and Ginny, another slave of the Celestial Dragons. And this is where Ivankov and Kuma's friendship began, since they will probably escape together. Ginny, the other escaped slave that's right there next to her, is eating a piece of meat, so there are plenty of theories that spawned about her. Ginny calls Ivankov Big Bro, and I don't actually know if there's a blood relationship there or if they just are very friendly because they were slaves together. But Ginny could either be Bonnie's mother and the wife of Kuma, or she could be Luffy's mother and the wife of Dragon, since Kuma and Dragon are both in the Revolutionary Army. I'm more on the side of Bonnie's mom because I remember where Ivankov didn't actually know if Dragon had a family, so it would make no sense if Ivankov knew Ginny if she was Dragon's wife. But that's where the chapter ends. Oda keeps making these good chapters with bombshells like every week. And going back to the start of the chapter, in the present day, the Straw Hat situation is like very bad right now because I don't see any hope in escaping. Maybe either Kuma or the ancient robot will come in and help them out. And Kuma's backstory is just beginning now, this chapter, and it'll probably continue on to the next chapters, but it's already super tragic even though it's just started. This chapter is probably one of the saddest One Piece chapters in a very long time, but it's not just a tragedy that we saw in the backstory. We also got to learn a lot of new answers about God Valley specifically, and I hope we continue to learn more about it. And I hope they just cover all of the God Valley incident in this flashback, even though it's supposed to be Kuma's backstory. they could always include the God Valley incident. But we'll unfortunately have to wait because there is a break next week. But the week after that, we'll be ready for whatever happens next. So if you made it all the way to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe because it will really help me out. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.